Heavy commodities can cause problems for the railroads, making it difficult to transport large volumes. Portec tried to alleviate this by producing the 3,000 cubic foot hopper by providing a larger car to handle the higher density products like sand, cement, salt, and grains. Atlas announced the release of the Portec 3,000 cubic foot covered hopper in October of 2022, and dealers took delivery in January of 2024. This brand new model includes 6 road names, each with 3 road numbers for a total of 18 unique cars in this initial release. The run includes several variants as well between the road names. The MSRP of the model is $82.95, but third-party retailers offer steeper discounts. Today we'll be taking a look at AEX 9336. This unit was built in April 1981 and has changed owners' hands several times before landing as a sand car for Anderson's. This unit offers several patch-out printing for the road name and number as well as the safety striping. We'll start by checking out the details on the A end of the car. The top of the end cage is the support for the roof walk. The entire roof walk is made from etched metal, and the end cage is the support piece cut from the same piece that's folded over to the end cage. The actual end cage is made from plastic and is separately applied to the overall car body. The left side of the end cage features some grab irons that form a ladder, allowing crews to access the top of the car. Despite the plastic grab irons, the grab irons are actually pretty finely executed. The end cage does feature some metal grab irons as well. The center grab iron is made from wire due to the longer run of the actual grab iron. Towards the bottom of the car is another metal separately applied part, and that is the crossover platform. Despite the metal material, the platform is painted to match the rest of the car body paint, but is still see-through. On the end of the sill is the coupler cut bar. The bar runs from the end sill and goes to the underside of the coupler cut box. The coupler bar does attach to the coupler box, so in order to remove the coupler, you'll have to remove the coupler cut bar. The coupler itself is a metal non-scale coupler. It appears to be an Atlas brand coupler and does have the magnetic trip pin. Finally, the last detail to check out is the trainline air hose. This is a separately applied detail made from plastic and is very finely done, even going as far as to having the angle cock valve modeled. On the actual side of the car, the main spotting feature of the car is the half ladders towards the end cages. Similar to other grab iron details on the end cage, this piece is made from separately applied plastic details. The top of the ladder is supported by some angle iron that is modeled into the car body, providing support to both the end cage and the half ladders. The stirrup steps are molded into the half ladders and are pretty finely done as well and look really to scale. On the underside of the sill is the roping loop for the car. This smaller metal detail is separately applied as well and can really only be seen when the modeler is at track level or the car is upside down. The covered hopper rolls on 100-ton trucks. The trucks themselves have good molded-on spring details as well as raised foundry lettering on the sides. One of the road-specific details is the shaker brackets that are located on the outlet troughs below the sill. This unit has the smaller shaker brackets with the support flanges just extending beyond the brackets, while the other style has much larger flanges with almost double the size, as well as having some rivet details. On the bottom of the trough is the outlet gate details. These outlet gates are separately applied details made from plastic and are pretty well done with nice ratchet details for the rotating shaft. On the B end of the car, the interior of the cage is jam-packed with details from all the braking system components and the inner connections. On the outer side of the end cage is going to be the separately applied brake wheel. This piece is a plastic component with the brake wheel being attached to the brake wheel housing and the housing attached to the end cage support irons. From the housing, the brake chain connects to the housing to the rest of the brake linkage with the brake wheel assembly, and the chain is painted in all gray to match the rest of the car body paint. The chain does extend through the notched crossover platform. On the inside of the cage, the largest component is the air reservoir with the flange and rivet details on the center of the tank. The reservoir is attached to 2 support brackets that is then attached to the inner car body shroud and has several air lines running from the side of the tank. Towards the center of the car is the control valve, the main aspect of the braking system. The control valve is separately applied and attached to the center sill of the car just above the coupler box and has about 5 air plumbing lines running in and out of the valve. On the left side of the car body is the additional air accumulator to help provide some extra air capacity for better braking. The brake piston is situated towards the center of the car body shroud, closer to the center sill, and extends to the linkage on the interior. All of the braking system components are separately applied and made from plastic. The only metal deal is the control valve retainer rod that extends from the control valve to either side of the car body. The rod handle is made from wire to give a more fine appearance, and even though the plastic air plumbing looks pretty good, it is very finely done and looks very much to scale. The top of the car is very nicely done with the metal roof walk. The roof walk is separately applied and it has the Morton style holes. The roof walk extends a little bit over the ends and folds over to provide support over to the end cage. The other parts of the roof walk are smaller tabs that slot into the plastic roof to provide support as well. On the ends of the car are the separately applied plastic grab irons. These irons are in the drop style with different accent colored paint depending on the paint scheme. This specific car has yellow grab irons, while other cars like the Boston and Maine have blue grab irons. Another road specific detail is going to be the differing roof walk supports, and the best place to see this is the end of the roof walk sides. One of the options is the open style with smaller but more supports across the model. The other option is the roof walk with less supports but larger end walk supports. This model has the smaller but more abundant walks, but the Winchester and Western has the larger, less support version. Another road-specific detail comes with the hatch details. While the round product hatches are all the same with the hinge and handle details molded on, the hatch heights differ slightly. This unit is the smaller hatch heights with the hatches basically on the car body roof. Roads like the Boston and Maine are going to have the larger hatches. Flipping the car over gives a lot of great detail as well. One of the features that was seen earlier but now has a better view is the trucks and have the 36-inch metal wheels. The wheels are the Atlas brand, having the 110,000 treading. The center sill of the car also sports the brake line, which runs in the empty space between the center sill support beams and continues towards the ends of the car. Between the two outlet gates is a smaller bolted-on detail as well. This detail is the shroud stiffeners that help with the structural support of the angled sections on the prototype. This detail is also a body version specific detail, so not all cars may have it. Lastly, the outlet gates are very nicely detailed with good molded-on details for the gate. The running tracks for the gate mechanism are also nice as well as the ratcheting connection that protrudes from either side of the trough. The box does include some additional details to further detail the car. The first of these is the AEI tag. This detail part is incredibly small and would be installed on the prototype cars that survived into the modern era. Generally, AEI tags are attached above the right truck when looking at the broadside of the freight car. The other detail part is the tack board that is attached to the car body side and allows the inspector to post switch seats or bad orders to the car without piercing into the steel car body. The car comes in at 5.5 inches long, so the NMRA recommended weight is 3.75 ounces. The measured weight was 4.38 ounces or 124 grams, so the car is 0.63 ounces to the heavier side. The couplers were measured to the Katy height gauge, and it was found that both couplers were at the correct height. All of the wheels were found to be engaged, and the car was bumped slightly to check for body wobble, and the car had sufficient 3-point suspension. For the scoring section of the review, the score is based on several categories, each with its own point totals, adding up to 100 possible points. The packaging of the model comes in the Atlas Masterline box with the hard plastic outer liner and soft plastic inner liner. The model comes with an instruction booklet and a few extra details to help provide modelers with a more specific model. The accuracy of the model is actually pretty well executed, with the majority of details being represented well, and with the images I've found of prototype photos online of paint schemes look to be pretty on match as well. One thing to make a note of is the coupler cut bar. About 50% of the cars I saw did have a different style of coupler cut bar on the prototype photos, so this may not be 100% accurate to your model. This is a part of the car that may be changed out on the prototype pretty often, and I can't find any as-built designs, so maybe take this with a grain of salt. The paint and decals on the model are nicely done with crisp lines and sharp decals over the model. The patchwork is good without any fuzziness or softening over the car body paint. I thought Atlas could have added several detail parts and accent painting like the coupler cut bar and trainline air hose for this MSRP. Several other companies also provide decals of the road name and numbers printed on the trucks for models with a similar price point as well. The details on the model are a mixed bag. While the details on the model are great and executed well, specifically by Atlas standards, the car overall seems to be very expensive for the product you're receiving. The lack of several wire grab irons, rubber trainline air hoses, rotating roller bearing caps, and a semi-scale metal coupler all lead to a less than stellar car for a larger MSRP. For the operations of the car, I didn't have any issues running this car around the track. It did have good weight for a smaller car body, as well as having metal wheels and metal couplers. Even though some of them may not be as detailed as possible, the car did run well, especially with that 3-point suspension. The couplers, trucks, and wheels are all the Atlas brand products, not using any third-party options. The metal standard size couplers were both at the correct height and did have the magnetic trip pins. The trucks are good molded details but lack printing and don't offer rotating roller bearing caps. The wheels are 36-inch metal wheels with plastic axles, all found to be in gauge. The value of the model is a little bit tougher. The MSRP is very high without a doubt, coming in at $82, but steep discounts help but may not be available to everyone. That being said, the car offers a lot of good details but is really missing a few premium features to really set it apart. Finally, I really like to see Atlas making some upgrades, moving away from the older Accumate split plastic couplers to these standard metal couplers is a step in the right direction, but definitely falls flat-footed on this model with a lot of other upgrades really needed. Finally, adding up the point totals gives a final score of 84 out of 100, or a solid B rating. This score gives the Atlas Portec 3000 cubic foot hopper to wind up 29th on the list of recently reviewed models. Overall, the score is pretty fitting for this model, and it's really unfortunate because the model is not bad at all. The majority of the details are standard for a similar price point for different models, but it's missing just a few details. When I saw the MSRP for this model, I honestly thought it was the MSRP of a 2-pack model, and was kind of floored when I saw it was the price of a single model. I did purchase the model for $53, which is a discount of 36%, but really that should be the upper band for an MSRP of this level of detail. Ideally, a model of this quality should land in the $30 to $40 range. Worst part is I think this car is actually great, and I love that Atlas can go out there and make a niche model like this to the mass market, but it just falls a little bit flat. If I had seen this review before purchasing, I don't think I would have purchased this model, and honestly would recommend the casual modeler to really think this car over before making a purchase, unless you're a big Boston, Maine modeler or other niche railroads that are offered by Atlas. The MSRP to detail level is just a little bit too high in my opinion. But tell me what you guys think about the model, if the details are worth the model's price, or if the MSRP is just a little too high. But that's all I got for you guys this time. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll leave you with one final run-by shot, but thanks for watching.